Welcome, welcome. Lisa Drennan, energetic mindset mentor, here with you live with the lovely Danielle Fenster. She's got a really cool uh miracle. I'm gonna let her tell you all the details. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was reading her little bio that I had sent to her to do this interview, and I was like, just my heart just leaped for joy. I'm gonna stutter a little bit here, but I was just really intrigued with her story, and I can't wait till she shares it with you. And I'm gonna make a shout out to Nikki Franklin. I'm gonna pick up my phone and tag you. So if I'm looking down, that's why. Nikki Franklin, I want you to catch this interview. Danielle, thank you so much for your willingness to share how you incorporate Christianity. Tell us what you do.
So I'm a covenant coach, certified life coach. So basically what that does is it helps people with their thoughts and get past past patterns. But I have a huge passion for God. I have for the last 8, maybe 9 years now. I didn't grow up having God in my life, so I had a radical transformation happen at 9 years. My journey with him has been amazing, and it's just been something that I've wanted to transfer. I believe what I'm doing now is what I was born to do. Seeing people live the life that God's called them to live, they just don't know how to get there. So it's really coming alongside them to help them uncover the blocks or the hangups, the things that they're believing that aren't serving them. And I could talk on that for like an hour, but I'll just say that for now.
You'll have to come on my podcast and share all of this, because this is really exciting to me. I'm like so excited for this. I'm just trying to get, I want to tag somebody and they're not letting me tag somebody. Facebook, stop. Right? I'll have to tag her after. So you've been practicing Christianity for about 9 years. Yeah. And you have, what's the name of your business?
Miracle Movement.
And how did that come about?
So I'll share really quickly the first encounter I actually had of even I grew up hearing the words like God and Jesus, but I had a lot of confusion around what that was and what it actually meant to me. So I had encountered about 9 years ago, I had went to a business seminar to just learn how to make more money. And after the woman was teaching all day, she said, I've actually been teaching all day from the greatest success book ever written, the Bible. And I was stunned because I found so much value in the teaching the whole day. I had a life change had already occurred for me. I felt like I was seeing through a different lens. I had awareness of things that I had been doing my whole life, but I didn't realize that they were detrimental. And when she said she was teaching from the Bible, I'm like, I didn't know that the Bible said any of these things. And when I heard her talk about Jesus, she invited us to a night session where she just shared openly about her faith and about Jesus. And my life at the time totally sucked. Everything about it was terrible. I was broke. I was single. I had never wanted to get married. I felt like I carried around a lot of anger. I saw people that were successful. I didn't understand how they had it. I didn't understand how it seemed easy for some people and why it seemed like such a train wreck for others. And I really looked at her life and was like, okay, if what she's saying about Jesus is true, what do I have to lose? I was literally that place. Her life looks a lot better than what I got going on. So maybe I try this Jesus thing. It literally was that I had no idea what I was saying yes to. It was just there was hope for that. There was going to be something better. And from that, for any of you that have experienced, know what I'm talking about, the first time you say yes to Jesus or invite him to be Lord of your life, you're like, whoa, I didn't think this is what was going to happen, or some life change dramatically happens. Quickly after that, I heard God speak to me, and I know that he had spoken to me before in my life. I just didn't realize it was him. But this time it was so divine, so set apart. It was the world stopped and he said, your husband is coming. You're healed and your husband is coming. And I was excited and kind of nervous at the same time. What is that? Do I know him? Do I not know him? Am I going to like him? My brain went into all the questions. Is it right? Because at the time I didn't know how God knows all these things already, right? He already knows that who he's sending is good. And 2 months later, I got introduced to a man that the Lord then told me, this is your husband. And we got married 58 days after that.
Wow.
The reason I'm sharing that is because faith without works is dead. If I didn't trust God for what he said was coming, and I didn't trust him and who that man was, I would have never actually said I do. I wouldn't have, because I was terrified. I married a stranger. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared, but I did it anyways. We've been married 8 years. We have 4 children. He is hands down, like, I want to say, like the best decision I ever made. And that was just following God's direction. That He already knew what was the best. That's actually how my business name, where the name Miracle Movement came, was God had shown me a year and a half ago. I was praying, and He lifted my head up and showed me a picture of my husband and I, and said, "Miracle, like this is what He's wanting to do in His children's lives." He's like, I want more miracles. I want them to experience what you experienced with me, and I want this to become the norm." And 2 days later, He said, "Miracle Movement." And here we are.
Wow. I love that. That is a beautiful, beautiful story. And you were so obedient, like immediately. Like I was saved in 1979. I was 12 years old. I'm 53. Do you know how I've gone back and forth? There was a long period where I didn't even trust God. And, and like I shared before we went live, I didn't think it was proper to invite God to be a part of my business, my coaching business. And he keeps just revealing all this stuff for me. So, and here you are, you're like, yeah, let's try this Jesus thing, like, kind of laid back, and you're like, well, I'm going to trust you. Yeah, why not? What do I got to lose?
Yeah.
I love this. I love it. So what are some of the modalities that you use to incorporate Christ, to remind yourself that He's there with you? There's certain thing that you follow each day?
Well, so even you sharing that, like, it is super common for people to go kind of back and forth, right? To either have seasons of not to trust or have a slower obedience. I think because I was at that place of such pain, that it was really a place of like desperation, which is where I see people respond faster, right? When you're like, I have no other option, right? There's no other resources available to me. I have to plug into the source because I have nothing left. I have nothing else to, like, I have no more time to waste. So I see that even in my own life, but as you just shared too, that comes up, and that's what's happening in a lot of my clients' lives, where they're like, right, when they're following, everything's great, and then they're not following, and now it's like, okay, let's do some work to uncover how that intersected. So as far as incorporating like Christianity into my business, it's really that, like, I have that mindset that, and I have coached even non-believers. So it works too. I'm not like reading scripture. I'm not like, this isn't like preaching. They're not paying me to like preach the word to them. This is very different. Because it works for non-believers too, where seeing like they ultimately like have these desires where they know they want to go, but something's interfering and is stopping it from happening.
Mhm.
So then it's uncovering like what's coming up that's stopping them from getting the results they want. And as a coach, because of the experience I have of seeing God work the miraculous in my life, I have the conviction, like, I know that even if they're in a place where they can't believe, or their faith feels like wounded at the moment, that I'm believing for them, that I can fill that gap and fill that space until they get to that place where they're believing again, if ultimately that's what they want. I will say most people, right when they're coming and they're reaching out, it's because they're desiring that, not like, hey, come on, you need more faith, and dragging them. They're coming saying like, I want a different life. I want
Mhm.
these things. So that's like that would be like my every day is like, Lord, fill my mouth with your words. I seek the kingdom first before every single call, before every single appointment, and get that wisdom. So it's not just Danielle Fenster showing up. It's both of us.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. And what's one thing that you won't compromise that you do every day?
Oh, hands down, prayer. One of my favorite
Mhm.
verses is Romans 12:12. We have it like blown up huge on a board in our living room, so we can see it all the, where we sit with the family, where we do dishes, see it all the time. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm like, Lord, remind me what it is. It's rejoicing in the expectancy, um, enduring under pressure, and continuing steadfastly in prayer is the scriptures version. That's been like, that is like the verse, no matter like what is happening in my life, what's coming up, that I hold to, because I know that He's good. So I can always rejoice in the expectancy. So like that's something I do daily. Endure under pressure, even when it doesn't look good, or even when I think it doesn't look good, or even when my clients think it doesn't look good, and continuing in prayer. So prayer is like a non-negotiable. There's nothing you could say or do to get me to not pray every single day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And praying continuously. I know I talk to God throughout the day, and we have some great conversations, and I do board meetings. We have board meetings Monday through Friday. And I was insistent that they had to be at 6:30 every morning. Well, at 6:30 every morning, I missed it. So I spent a few days beating myself up, and then God's like, it doesn't matter what time you do it, just show up. So now we do it at nighttime, and it's amazing. I love what's shared. And, I meditate on scripture, and it's like my meditation on scripture in the board meeting Monday through Friday, it's like, no, I'm not missing that. So I can't even imagine not talking to God throughout the day. And
Right.
as you said, praying before meetings and all of that, and
Yeah.
just taking the moment just to celebrate the joy, because regardless of what's going on, God's hands are in on it. What advice would you give to somebody starting out, a new Christian female entrepreneur?
A new Christian female entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, that just pops questions in my head. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Why are you new? What caused you to want to come here? Um, I would say that, okay, can I say two things instead of just one?
Absolutely. Whatever you're led to.
That first time obedience is like the sweet spot where like
Mm-hmm.
where life transformation happens, where acceleration happens. And like that's just like his goodness and favor is everywhere. But that first time obedience, like so me sharing that story of getting like totally consumed with like his love and his fire to have transformation very quickly, to go from not wanting to be married to meeting this man like in 2 months and then getting married 2 months later. It was a deep desire that I had that I didn't know I had. So that first time obedience is what led it to actually come so fast. Whereas our brain can block us from like, oh, I don't know, is this the right person? And that doubt keeps us from like really like that, right? That's why we became Christians in the first place, right? Was for a better life, for that hope. So that first time obedience, what if that's like the link to actually get the thing you're longing for and to not like interfere with it? The other part I would say is in the seasons, because we know we all are going to fall, which is totally fine. We planned for that, that we're not going to have first time obedience in all the things, to not grow weary. That in the times when it doesn't look like how you thought it was going to look, or it doesn't turn out, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say that he's God one day and he's not the next because it doesn't look the way you thought it was going to look. Because whatever you're enduring, that's why I love that first, enduring under pressure, whatever you're enduring, you can already rejoice in the expectancy of what's to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's blessings in the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So purpose in the pain. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. We are going to put your links in the description so people can connect with you. Tell us a little bit about what you do again.
So I call myself a transformational coach. A little bit of what we've talked about here is I say transformation because it's all encompassing life. So even the example of, let's say there's a miracle that you've been praying for, something that you're wanting, and it hasn't happened yet, and you don't even see how it's going to happen. I help overcome those blocks. And one of the things I'm super passionate about is helping women experience, if they desire, a supernatural childbirth, how to actually have a birth that is accessible for us as Christians through Jesus Christ, that we're not seeing like in mainstream media of what women are encountering. So that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so beautiful. Well, I love what you're doing. And I thank you so much for sharing all your heart and how it came about. And anyone that's listening, whether it be here live or if you're catching the replay or watching this on YouTube, be sure to reach out and share this with anyone who can use it. And thank you so much. Have an amazing day.